Who are the influential female figures in rollerblading that you need to know about? Rollerblading, especially aggressive rollerblading, is heavily male dominated, and it has been from the start. But there has always been powerful female figures pivotal to rollerblading success who are more than deserving of their shine. So let's talk about the females who have shaped rollerblading and made it what it is today. All the stunts are performed by professionals. Do not attempt this yourself. Taking it back to the 90s, the early days of rollerblading, and the first female rollerblader I was ever aware of, Dawn Everett.
Basically, the bottom line is skating, people skate for fun, Can't stereotype all skaters.
Dawn stood out right away. She had a very smooth and relaxed style. She'd gained sponsorship and won a NIS, all while still attending Monterey High School. She featured in issue 11 of Daily Bread magazine and had a pro wheel from Kryptonic. She was a badass, man. She was so cool, and she did really well for herself as well. She's quoted as saying, for 1 year, I think with competition earnings and what I got paid by my sponsors, I made like 25k as a 17-year-old. Dawn was able to hold her own against any skater at the time and would have been a huge inspiration for other females. Even for me as a young boy, her presence legitimised rollerblading. It showed that it was for everyone and it wasn't just like, jobs for the boys. Dawn is still present in her local scene and skates when her ailing knee will allow, or she'll otherwise be found filming and encouraging others. Also in the early 90s, the Tasha Hodgson pro model Oxygen Argon was released, making it the first female pro model aggressive skate, a milestone in skating. It was the likes of her, Dawn Everett, Donna Vano, Claudia Trashel, that would inspire one of the most prolific rollerbladers of all time, Fabiola de Silva.
The best women's vert skater in the world.
I'll never give up, I think. If I wanted to do it, I'm gonna do it, no matter what.
The high-flying Brazilian's record of achievements is momentous. The list is as long as like a monthly shot for Britain's biggest family. It's enormous. She won the first comp she ever entered at 17 after only a year of skating, earning her a spot on the rollerblade team. She has over 50 medals from the LG Action Sports World Tour events. She's got 8 gold medals from the X Games, including a 7-year stretch where she only lost once in 1999 when she picked up a silver instead of a gold. She was so dominant, the Fabiola rule was created, allowing females to compete against males.
Now, there's no girl that seems to be able to skate with you. How far do you think that you can take the sport in style competition, or are you just gonna have to skate against the guys?
I'm looking forward to skate with them because they push me. I know girls can do it too.
In 2005, she became the first woman ever to land a double backflip on a vert ramp. She was in a computer game, she had a figurine, and she also played stunt double for Gabriella in the movie Brink.
When you woke up this morning, did you say to yourself, today I'm gonna talk, or today I'm gonna skate?
Very few rollerbladers out there with IMDb pages. Fabiola's impact was phenomenal. After that first comp, she was an instant media sensation. She would gain sponsorships from not only skating brands such as Rollerblade and a Pro 50/50 frame, but also outside brands like Gap and Levi's, transcending rollerblading. Sadly and surprisingly, the one thing that eluded Fabiola was a pro skate. UK skater and another female icon, Jenny Logue, had this to say of it. I thought that Fabiola's huge presence over so many years, competing and performing at such high levels, not only among females but also among the men, that she might have received a pro model from Rollerblade at the time. I think that would have been the most obvious pro model that never was. Pro models serve more than a monetary purpose. It's the biggest recognition you can get in all extreme sports. It would have attracted more people to the sport, and in this case, especially females to the sport, and also would have shown that they have a respected place in rollerblading. Throughout her career, and still to this day, Fabiola has tried to encourage young people to take up skating. She runs skate clinics and has set up her own skate park. She did recently receive a signature skate for children via Birth Legacy and Celtic, but is still chasing that adult pro model. I want to have a pro Roces skate, and I think it's still possible. I've been skating for 30 years, I'm 42 years old and very athletic. Nothing has changed for me. I still travel doing speeches, and for the past 5 years I've been teaching kids and adults how to skate. I really believe the sport can transform lives. There is no arguing that Fabiola is very athletic and an incredible ambassador for rollerblading. So Roces, if you're listening, might be worth giving her that pro skate that she wants. Prior to rollerblading, Fabiola and her sister Fabiola, that could get confusing very, very quickly, were junior kickboxing champions. Fabiola also won her first CrossFit challenge in 2017 and is actually a sponsored CrossFit athlete, probably the fittest athlete in rollerblading. Another female who's got a ruck of gold medals is Turski. I first found out about Kaya through her fearless Road to Nowhere section from Brandon Negretti. She started skating around 10-11, spending all the time she had honing her skills in the skate park. So at 16-17, when this street park dropped, it was incredible. It felt to me like female skating had just jumped loads of stages. It'd come on leaps and bounds. One thing that really stood out was how comfortable Kaya looked on big obstacles. Nothing seemed beyond their reach, making her a really exciting skater to watch. I mean, it was just stunt after stunt. Even going back now and looking at her old skating, it hasn't aged a drop. It is timeless and still totally relevant now. It was also around this time that she seamlessly transitioned into skiing, and this is where she really made the name for herself. She would expand on all the skills she learned from rollerblading to dominate women's slopestyle.
I found freestyle skiing and just totally fell in love with the sport. It really transitioned well from rollerblading and I had a blast doing it.
She became the first female to land a switch 1080.
Switch 1080! Kaya Turski!
That's right, I landed it. I was the only female to ever land it in competition. Taking off backwards, 3 full rotations, landing backwards, and I'm still the only girl to have ever done it.
She set the highest slopestyle score at the 2010 Winter X Games in Aspen with a score of 96.66. She won 8 gold medals at the X Games and 5 AFP World Championships, rightfully earning her the title, the Queen of Slopestyle. She was a force of nature. When you think about big stunts and iconic skate spots, you think about the Staples Center in LA. Those ledges are huge. And there's a couple of women who've done tricks on them, one of them being Fallon, Heffernan, Giambo. For a few years there was doubt whether Fallon had actually landed the trick or not, because the only footage showed her falling out when she hit the landing. But that all changed in 2022 when confirmation came via Ryan Schude and a BMAG article that she'd actually done it hours before flying out of LA. She spoke about it soon after the confirmation in a Jump Street podcast.
So yeah, I did it within a few shots. I've been waiting since I was 17 years old and I'm a 35-year-old woman for my friends to believe me that I really did it and rolled away all the way. And it's finally out thanks to VMAG and Ryan Schude and Daily Bread and Angie Walton.
Like a lot of people in the 90s, Fallon came to rollerblading via quad skating. She admits she was very bad when she started, but she was dedicated.
That whole 10,000 hours to make an expert thing, that's legit because I was so bad and I just put in so many hours that finally I started to feel it.
By 13, she was on the ASA tour and quickly started making an impression. This was all while still maintaining her status as an all-state championship runner, which then got her a scholarship at Jacksonville University, Florida. Her skating would go from strength to strength and she'd start winning competitions all over the place. Success in skating brought more attention, and that's when the party started to happen and things took a little bit of a turn.
I was 19, getting into these clubs, and everyone was doing everyone. So I tried it for my first time in Los Angeles. At 19 years old, I started to reap some consequences. I wasn't going to practice anymore. Everything was falling apart around me. No skating, no running. I forgot my family, everything.
She was removed from the running team, she was kicked out of her scholarship, and then things really started to spiral. But she was determined to change her life, so she got clean and moved to USF, University of San Francisco. It was there she got another opportunity to run, and things were looking very promising. But an unfortunate injury led Fallon down a similar path and she started to drink. This resulted in Fallon getting kicked off another running team. She was absolutely devastated, but her coach had so much faith in her, she allowed her to graduate. The silver lining of it all is it allowed Fallon more time to skate and to reconnect with skating properly again.
Really, whenever everything else in life falls apart, rollerblading is the one thing that grounds me.
She dove headlong into rollerblading, and with encouragement from the community and people like Dawn Everett, she started to see success. It wasn't long before she was competing and winning competitions. She was even allowed to compete with the men at the Asian X Games and won a Winterclash in 2009. Best of all, she had a positive outlook on what had happened to her.
None of this could have happened if it weren't for everything, the good and the bad, that led up to that point.
More recently, it seems like she's really turned it around for herself, and she's now focusing her energies on helping people who've been through similar situations to hers.
I'm pursuing my master's in social work with my license in clinical social work. And I'm working as an addiction therapist.
Another female who has a trick at the Staples Center and is actually the person who inspired Fallon to do hers is Shannon Rodgers.
It took 19 tries. I was like, I'm doing it! What? I was like, just screaming like, ah! So when I finally did it, I was like, oh, thank God.
Shannon's Life Plus section is full of bangers and huge tricks. She really pushed the bar and raised the level for female skating. It is just hit after hit. And she's also a big fan of talks, which I love, so that's a bonus. Shannon has continued to have success outside of rollerblading, where she's become an actor and has appeared in the likes of Modern Family, Conan, and The Ellen Show, where she's also a writer as well.
Thank you, Shannon.
For the majority of the 90s and early 2000s, Daily Bread magazine was like the holy grail to all skaters. It helped expose aggressive skating to people all over the world. It gave the sport its language, its looks, its icons. Daily Bread showed what was possible with rollerblading, and there was no greater honour than getting a spot in the magazine. And none of it probably ever would have happened if it wasn't for Angie Walton, the driving force behind the magazine and one of the original Team Rollerblade members. Angie has possibly one of the most enthralling, mind-blowing stories in rollerblading ever. I fully recommend checking out her Jump Street podcast interview. I'm gonna try and summarise it a little bit. This is kind of like the trailer for the film, imagine.
A young lady runs away to join the carnival to escape a psycho ex-boyfriend.
And I just was like, I'm taking off. So I took off with the carnival.
I can't do the voice anymore. When that didn't work out, she went back to school to study architecture and joined the cheerleading squad, but she got kicked out because she was too good. She then joined Bobo's ski team, you know, the ones that go around and do the human pyramid on skis. She was then asked to join the circus and do web, which is the one where you basically like spin around really fast on those ropes. This then led to a job helping ring up lights on shows for bands like Faith No More.
It was easy, you know, I'd be up on the rigging. And I remember they'd be so nervous. They're like, Angie, you know, we'll get a ladder. I'm like, dude, circus.
She used that to get a job with a touring band just so that she could get to California.
And if there's one thing that I heard my whole life was, you should move to California. You're a weirdo. You'd fit in out there. So I was like, they're going to California. I'm in.
California, here we come.
On one of the tour stops when she was wandering around, she found a half pipe and the Gail Webb demo. Side note, Gail Webb survived a skydiving accident and she was putting on skateboarding and BMXing demos. Angie meets Jess Dienforth, who would become a big figure in rollerblading, but at the time was a pro BMXer, so she starts riding BMX. She says bye to the tour and heads to LA with him. Rollerblade were looking for people to promote rollerblading and hand out flyers. Jess introduces Doug Boyce to Angie to get her on skates. Angie skates every single day while also holding a job as a cocktail waitress. Rollerblade held auditions, Angie gets the job and then steals a pair of skates for Jess. Rollerblade wanted dancers, but Angie and Jess wanted to do their own thing and set their own scene and not be dancers. They would move to Australia, hang out with Tom Fry, watch a video of Renee Holmgren every morning, which would inspire Angie to skate harder and start a magazine.
He was the inspiration for me getting my airs lofty finally. It was like the first time I actually felt loft, you know, like that anti-gravity.
Neil Fineman wanted her on Box magazine, but that's not the path she wanted. She wanted a different scene. She moved to Venice Beach. All of this experience gave her this incredible self-belief. She could do whatever she wanted to do. She could do whatever she put her mind to. Arlo, Brooke Howard-Smith got involved, and by August 1993, Daily Bread was born. How did Angie come up with the name?
I was just taking a shower and the name popped in my head. Did not think about it one little tiny bit.
Angie's attitude and approach epitomizes what skating is and what makes it great. It's not about being told what to do. It's about defining your own path, setting your own styles, creating your own scene, and being truly free within that, all the while not putting the origins of it all onto one person, but instead showing the roots from all over the world and developing this amazing community. There's definitely loads more to that incredible story. I fully recommend going and listen to her interview on the Jump Street podcast. Hopefully they make a blockbuster movie out of the thing. Jumping over to these shores and two pillars of the UK skating community, Jenna Downing and Jenny Logue. I first seen Jenny Logue in the Puberty Team video, The Method, which is full of the original British skate icons, and she more than held her own. She had incredible style, classic positioning and technique on soles, and some of the best royales going. She made every trick look good. Jenny got into skating via her brother, and it was him who convinced her to enter the first ever female British Championships, which she won. Jenny has continued skating and given back to the community by teaching and organising a lot of the nationals and state titles in Australia via Bayside Blades, where she works. Like I mentioned before, if you know Jenny, you're bound to know Jenna Downing, the queen of UK rollerblading. She took female skating to the next level and set a precedent. A former world champion inline skater, an X Games silver medalist and 10 times British champion. She was the youngest female skater to turn professional at age 12. Her skill and ability has earned her the first and only signature skate for a female UK skater. Interestingly, there's a connection with one of the best male skaters as well. Jenna's mum also gave a young Joe Atkinson his first skate lesson in 1995 at rehab in Wakefield. She also encouraged his parents to keep him at it, telling them one day he would be a champion. That one turned out pretty good, didn't it? Jenna is another great example of a female rollerblader taking successes from within rollerblading and transitioning that to success outside of rollerblading. She works as a national education, physical activity, health and well-being consultant, specialising in motivational speaking, tutoring, coaching and mentoring. Jenna delivers thought-provoking, inspirational keynotes, bespoke mentoring programs and workshops to help individuals of all ages achieve their full potential. Both Jenny and Jenna have another thing in common as well. They were both playable characters in Roll in the Game, which also features another female rollerblader, Martina Svobodova. Martina was a style master. Her opinion section is an education. The skating was flawless and she's arguably one of the best female skaters of all time. She's won the X Games twice, the first ever Winterclash, she was on Rollerblade, then she was on Deshi. In more recent years she's been put on Gods and she's actually just received a signature wheel as well. Around 2008, when things in rollerblading took like a little bit of a dip, competitions dried up, opportunities to make money and Martina to be able to support herself like kind of disappeared, she turned her hand to golf, became a pro and started teaching people. When lockdown came around, Martina picked up her skates again and within the first year she'd won the EFES competition and took first in the Urban World Series. She was skating like she had never left. The same outstanding style, same incredible technique, and she's still active today. Moving to the forefront of today, and Chynna Weierstall, who is probably the most technically proficient female skater ever. Chynna has been making an impression since a young age. Even at 15, she stood out at Bitter Cold Showdown. Her skills and abilities won her Female Skater of the Year for the last 2 years, and deservedly so. She has a signature wheel from Chroma, she rides for Faction, and I see a lot of people asking for that Faction Pro model skate. She has a huge trick vocabulary, is creative, super stylish, with an outrageous control level, a massive inspiration for female rollerbladers, young and old. Another powerhouse in female rollerblading is Mery Munoz. She's got numerous wins at all sorts of competitions, including 2 wins at the Winterclash. She's got pro skates for both aggressive and urban. She has a passion-filled drive and is always pushing female rollerblading, not just with her skating and achievements, but also asking more of brands in terms of representation and running her own teaching academy. Mery is a hugely important figure in rollerblading. If you've kept up with rollerblading, you would have noticed that a lot of female skaters refer to themselves as Bladies.
It really just is the word combination of blade and ladies.
The name Bladies originally came from Fallon Heffernan and Coco Sanchez, who started skating in the late 90s. These girls would travel around, competing at competitions, and would hype each other up by shouting the now iconic name, Bladies. In 2012, Megan Petersen, Erin Gates and Melissa Brown got a house in San Diego, and this is where the Bladies crew came together and naturally started a movement.
It wasn't supposed to be anything. It was just wordplay, turned into crew, turned into brand if we could, turned into like just trying to make a community out of it. And then we realized like, oh, we can get more girls into our crew. And then it was just like a it turned into a community, and then it just evolved.
Megan, with the help of other Bladies, put this momentum into help creating merch and some amazing collaborations. There's 2 Razor skates, there's an Aeon skate, all tailored and developed with female rollerbladers in mind. Absolutely massive respect what Megan and those other Bladies have done for the scene. Now, I mentioned Winterclash a few times throughout this video, and it's interesting to note that the most decorated riders are both females. You've got Chihiro Izuma, who's won it 3 times, as has Friederike Reich, and I've almost definitely pronounced that wrong. Again, girls that are just pushing the bar higher and higher all the time. But there are so many more female rollerbladers as well. The likes of Javier Garrido, Nicole Machado, Itchy, Becky Sotelo, Kay Luz. Some of the best young skaters in the world are female. Think about the likes of Sioa Jan, Bioli Star, and then you've got the roller skate twins as well, who I believe have had the most positive impact on rollerblading in the last couple of years. These are just some of the female rollerbladers that make rollerblading what it is today. And they've been there from the very start. They've had an immeasurable impact. Who knows where rollerblading would be without them? So shout out to the Bladies. Huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting me and helping me to continue to do this. You can join from as little as £3 a month. Exclusive videos, sneak peeks, first dibs at merch, all that kind of stuff. Here's a couple of videos you can watch, and I'll see you again soon. Spotty Dog.